Hey, hi, hello. It's your good friend and overall best video game boy, Rad, here, and we're going to talk about some stuff. Specifically, we're going to talk about E3. Now, this is a pretty important time of the year for all us video game type people that talk about video games a whole ton and play them possibly more. And it's this one's really up in the air. This one's a really weird one because I don't know what to expect at all from any of the companies. Like, usually we go in and have like some kind of expectation of what we're going to be getting, and not at all this year. This year's a little up in the air, we'll say that. Now, either way, it's going to be an exciting event. It's going to happen on the weekend, which is different from what they usually do. They usually have it happen around like uh the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the middle of the week of like the second week of June, typically, I've found. And this time it's just on the weekend. And I guess that's to help the people, like, it's open to the general public now and everything, so I guess it's to help people have, like, the time to get in there, which is good. It's just happening a bit earlier than it normally does. I'm not complaining. I think it's pretty good to be happening on these dates. It's cool with me. I think it's fine. It actually makes my life a whole lot easier in a lot of different ways. The thing about it is that we have the big three companies, and those would be Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, and they usually do stuff for the conferences and whatnot. This year, again, Nintendo is not doing like I think they're doing a treehouse thing for it again. And last year they did the same thing, but they mostly just played a whole bunch of fucking Zelda. And that's fine and everything. They showed off a few other games. They showed off some Pokemon and whatnot. And they could definitely do something similar of showing off some games that we know are coming. And then leaving the rest to like directs that are coming out like later on or whatever. But they're saying that they're not going to be there in like a big way. They're not going to be on stage or anything. But I'm so much. They didn't say that it's going to be a treehouse event, and I'm really hoping that it's not. I'm hoping that it's a direct type of thing where it's just kind of like, we're not going to be there, but here's a bunch of games that we're announcing, because, boy, they need to announce some games that are coming out for the Switch and give some gameplay on some of them and whatnot. And I suppose they could do that just fine with the whole Treehouse event, if they do end up doing something along those lines, but it wouldn't be as entertaining or as well put together as a direct would be. Like, at this point, I'd rather them just do directs for, like, they did it 2 years ago. Why not just do it again? Just do another direct for E3. Nobody would complain. It'd be just fine. Well, no, a lot of people would complain because you're not just up on stage like you used to. That's whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't think anybody will hard care about any of that. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be just fine if that's what's going on. But yeah, as far as Nintendo goes, I don't know what they're going to be doing because they've barely announced what they're going to be doing. It's hard to say for them because it could just be a treehouse thing. In that case, then we're going to probably get a lot of gameplay for a bunch of games that we know are going to be out and know are going to be good. Like, I don't think that we would get much out of it that is really substantial. We would probably get a lot of I'm thinking probably a lot of arms. Like, they might show off maybe one or two of the less played characters from ARMS, and possibly even a DLC character that's coming out almost like immediately for the game. And DLC meaning that like all the DLC for that game is going to be free, so that's fine. There's no big problems with that. So showing off another character, I wouldn't mind. Showing off some new arms that are going to be there, I wouldn't mind. We'd probably get a lot of Splatoon 2. Also wouldn't mind that, but like at this point, I just want to know about new games, which is kind of what I want out of E3 all the time. And last year, we didn't get anything like that. We got a lot of Zelda. And what else did we have during that point in time? Not a whole ton. There was a lot of Zelda, and on top of the lot of Zelda, there was... No, it was just a fuck ton of Zelda. Like a ridiculous amount of Zelda. And I think some 1-2 Switch stuff, which was fun. It was fun and funny and whatnot, and it's fine, but in the end, it seriously wasn't all that much. Which is a bummer. It's a big bummer. So I'm hoping for anything but that, really. There's like, okay, so here's what it says here. I have this thing up that has the basics of what the shows are going to be about, and it's going to be the Nintendo Spotlight, which will be happening at my time at 12 p.m. Jesus. No, not 12 p.m. 5 p.m. I had that wrong. But it's basically... It's gonna be fine for the most part. No big problems. No, I was wrong. Again, it was definitely 12 p.m. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just means that I gotta beat, like, recording around that time. That's no big deal. That's okay. Why do they have to do it so fucking early, though? What is with that? Either way, I hope that we get some Super Mario Odyssey stuff, because that would be pretty nice. That game looks stellar in a lot of different ways. And, like, if it is just a treehouse thing like last year, I'll be disappointed. But if it's something where they're, like, really showing off a whole bunch of games, I'm down. I'm cool with that. I still don't have a Switch yet. I still gotta get a Switch, but again, money is a problem. It's a problem for my ass right now. But let's talk about some other companies for a minute, for just a little bit. The first show that's going to be like real big is most likely the Microsoft one that is happening on Sunday. The schedule is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And the most stuff is happening on Monday. And Tuesday also. It's happening for like a good couple of days, but either way it's fine. Saturday's also a thing for EA. That's gonna be a bad one. That's gonna be not great, but we're gonna watch it anyways. But yeah, Microsoft is, in all honesty, the one that I know the least about and kind of care the least about, which is going to sound a little mean. And it is a little mean. I just don't feel like the Xbox One is that good of a system, and it's also kind of like none of the games that are coming out for it interest me even a little bit. There is one game that interests me currently for the system, and it's Killer Instinct, and it recently just got bumped off of, like, Evo of all things. It got bumped off for Melee, and I don't know what that says about either of those things, but it makes me feel like maybe Killer Instinct is in a bad place right now. And that might be part to do with, like, maybe Microsoft being in a bit of a bad place right now. It's rough. They even just announced a new character for it. Like, they teased a new character at Combo Breaker, like, last week. And it's Hawk, Thunder's brother. And he looks cool from the little teaser that we got, but, like, we might get, like, some proper gameplay for him at the show, because last year we got, like, well, we might get a couple character show-offs at this show for all of that, possibly. Which would be nice, because I do want to keep on seeing that game grow and be, like, have more and more potential put onto it. It's just, it seems like it's in a bit of a dire spot right now, which is a shame. They also have the Scorpio to show off, which is the, like, nice new upgraded version of the Xbox One. And that's fine. It's fine. Not much to say about that. It's like, hey, we basically just have a better version of the console out now. If it ends up being that, like, the console is in such a way that it makes older games run better, that's great. I would be pretty happy about that, just because, like, other people would be able to have, like, better versions of older games. If it is in such a way that, like, newer games will not work on older Xbox One systems, that's bad. That's not good. And I'm not looking forward to that future of consoles starting to PC themselves up, where that, like, this has been in the talks for a long while now, of consoles starting to have the same kind of turnaround, or have close to the same amount of turnaround that PCs do, where, like, everyone's, like, they'll keep them, like, close to the same moniker that the old ones do. Like, we'll have the PS4 or Xbox One forever, and they'll just kind of, like, upgrade them on, like, a nearly, not yearly basis, but a bi-yearly, or even just kind of, like, every 3 years or something like that. That's a rough time, because sure, it leads to backwards compatibility through the systems, but then you have to buy new systems to keep on playing current console games, which was not a problem for a very long time. It was the opposite of a problem for a very long time. Like, that was one of the draws of consoles in that you didn't have to constantly upgrade all the time to get the most current game that was out. And you have to kind of do that for PCs. Like, my PC, which is, fairly beefy right now and everything, still isn't the top kind of PC that you can have right now to play all of the most current PC games that are out. And that's rough. Like, I could probably run Crysis, but that's not, like, a good barrier anymore. I mean, it is, and also isn't. It's rough. It's rough. Also, is the barrier Crysis or Crysis 2? I forget. It doesn't matter. The point is, like, we're in the kind of space right now where I really hope that we don't go down the path of consoles having the same kind of turnover that PCs do, or at least a simplified version of that, because then you still have to shell out another, like, full price console to be up with the current stratus of video games, and that's no good. That's pretty bad. That's not the best. I'd be not too happy about it. Even if it's just like, I know that Sony's doing close to the same thing, but you can still play all the same games on your regular vanilla PS4. And I hope that continues to be the thing, but you just kind of get it a bit better looking. Maybe. Possibly not even that. I just don't want it to happen. That's the end of it, really. For the normal consumer, at least currently, I don't want that kind of thing to happen to video games. It's bad enough on the PC. It doesn't need to go over to consoles or anything like that. It's not needed. Speaking of things that are... No, that's not a good segue. I need to work on that. Speaking of video games, let's talk about Crackdown 3. That game's probably going to have a showing, most likely. But it's hard to say if it's actually going to have like a release date yet. It's kind of gone in the same way as like Scalebound did, in that you'll hear about it at the big events, and sometimes you wouldn't even hear about it. Like, I'm pretty sure the last big event that happened, which I think was Gamescom, I could be wrong, like, we didn't hear shit about Crackdown 3. We heard about it, actually, we didn't hear about shit about Crackdown 3 at E3 last year either, for Microsoft. We didn't hear shit about that game at all, even. Not even a little bit. It's been like 2, maybe 3 years, I forget, since the last time that we heard about Crackdown 3, really? And it's kind of like, last year we got Scalebound information. We got a whole bunch of gameplay for it, and a couple months ago they said, oh, it's canceled. And that's worrying in a lot of different ways, but also just kind of like, it makes me feel like Microsoft isn't in the right place when it comes to making their video games, at least their in-house video games, because they are so much very, like, anal about everything that goes on with them, and wants it to remake itself several times over. This is, like, documented stuff about them that they'll go to the people that are making their video games in-house, basically, and like look over what it is and say, nah, that's not good enough. Do it again. And they'll have to do it again. And they kind of had to do that with Scalebound in a big way. And eventually it just got canceled because it wasn't good enough and was costing them a fuck ton of money, which I feel like is kind of the same thing that Crackdown 3 is doing. We don't know. We don't know how that's going to go with them. We know that it's going to also have like a whole bunch of sports and shit that's going on, and that's just kind of like how things are going to go for a bit. But like, yeah, it's Microsoft's in a rough spot where I don't know what they're going to go for. They could also like have Far Cry 5 there because it's going to be multi-platform, and they like last year almost all the games that they talked about at their thing was like games that they either got rid of or stopped talking about entirely or were multi-platform. That was basically it. It was rough. It's hard to say what they're going to do next, but just don't know. Speaking of just don't knowing, we kind of like this is a theme throughout almost all of these conferences, but I have the most to say about Sony. Because they gave the most content for a little while now. And they're like Sony's conferences are always fucking fantastic. But we've kind of gone into another space where we've got a bunch of games that they've talked about, and then we haven't heard shit about for a year. Right off the bat, there's God of War, which we got at the very start of the conference for Sony last year. Haven't heard shit about it since. Looks very nice. Looks very good. But we don't know what they're planning to do with it, really. And we may not get it right off the bat like last year, but we're most likely going to be getting some more like gameplay footage from it this year. Expect a big pop from that. We're also probably going to be getting some more stuff for Death Stranding, because of course gotta get fucking Kojima in and have his stuff hyped up and everything. That's most likely going to be the case. Spider-Man also. That game was talked about, put down for forever, but that's probably going to be talked about in a big way here, because like the movie's coming out fairly soon. So it's gonna be an exciting time and everything. It's gonna be an exciting time to see more Spider-Man. I'm just hoping that it's going to be one of those cases where like how can I how can I put this? Like it's gonna be one of those things where for the Spider-Man game, it has to really, really make a big impression, because everyone still super wants it to just be Spider-Man 2 again and have that amazing swinging that everybody loved. And I don't know if we're ever going to get that again. The guy who made the swinging fucking did a great job. And I don't know if they've gotten him again, or anyone that can really, like, get the swinging down in such a bombastic way. I hope that they can. I hope that it's going to be a real good action game as well, but it just seems like it's going to be a bit underwhelming for people that really wanted a very specific thing out of a Spider-Man game and will probably never get it again. It's a bummer, because, like, having that kind of expectation isn't really fair, I'd say. It's not fair to the people that are working on the game, and it's not fair to the fans that are waiting for it, I guess. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take a drink. One thing that I'm looking forward to more than anything is the two things that Sony seems to be focusing on recently as far as their games go. They really want to pull in the nostalgia crowd in a big way. Like, they have been putting out for the past couple years now, like, remastered HD, sometimes completely remade from the ground up versions of their older video games, and it's so exciting to see that kind of thing happen. Just it's exciting to see it, and it's kind of, right now, I don't really know what they would really go for next. I want to say that they might go for Ape Escape. That's my prediction for it. There might be some Ape Escape that is happening. And in the end, I think that I'd want that more than most other things that they could be putting out. Like, there's a couple other things that they could. Like, one that would be neat, I guess, would be, like, if they did an HD, like, re-release or something along those lines of, like, Tekken 3 or something. That'd be, like, I know that Tekken 7 just came out, but, like, if they really wanted to, like, double down on the nostalgia, they would make, like, they would make Tekken 3 happen and have all the same, like, secret characters and everything, and have all the same modes and whatnot, have the physics of everything stay basically the same, but just, like, fucking beef that shit up real good. I think that people would buy that shit by the ton, most likely. Because, like, when people think of, like, nostalgia-ass fighting games, Tekken 3 is definitely, like, way up there with the things that people are like, I really want that. I need to get that right now. If they don't go down that route, I think, because there's going to be, like, 2 fighting games that are going to be there, most definitely. There's going to be Street Fighter V, and I think if they do have Street Fighter V up there, they're going to put out a trailer for the next story patch, like the next big cinematic story that they're going to be doing, because they've made it. They, like, a bunch of people have leaked fairly recently that there is going to be another story campaign for that game, and honestly, with all of the Season 2 characters, it kind of seems like it's souping up to be that kind of way. And you know what? I'm cool with that. The more story that there is, the more that they've got to, like, expand on certain things in there. And I was kind of hoping for another cinematic story to begin with. If it's going to be like this, where it's like, every year we're going to put out another cinematic story, that's pretty cool. Like, fucking, how long was Street Fighter 4 a thing? It was like from 2009 until 2015. 2015. So that's 6 years of like story campaign, like that. If it has the same kind of turnaround, then that's 6 years of that kind of like story campaign coming out per year. That's pretty good if that's what they're going for. So I'd be excited to see like a trailer or something for, first of all, the next character that's coming out, and secondly, the story campaign that's going to be going with that. They not around this time, was it? It was close to now, I think. Close to now they did the story campaign stuff for Street Fighter 5 and everything. They did something along those lines around now. So I'd say that it would be the right time to do that. Maybe, I think. Maybe. Either way. The other game that I'd really like to see fighting-wise, if they do it there, is fucking just do Soul Calibur. Make another Soul Calibur. Do it. Do it. You have mad money. Like, do a Soul Calibur thing. Do something. That's what I'm hoping for. To just do something for Soul Calibur and like make it a real thing again, and not a pachinko machine. I'm so tired of pachinko machines. I just kind of want that series to keep on going, and it seems like Bandai Namco is doing their best to not keep that series going. I'm a little salty about it, but like, yeah, just give me something. I love that series a lot, even though I'm really bad at it. I really just want it to keep going. That's all. That's all there is to it, really. And like, fighting games are hard on the rise right now, so like, if you're going to do it, now's the time. More than any other time, now's the time, I think. And you've already shown off your, like, how good you are at the fighting games and everything currently in the current world with, like, Tekken 7. By the way, we're probably going to get some Tekken 7 stuff there. I feel like we're going to get a lot of fighting game stuff. Most likely. We're going to get a nostalgia pull, we're going to get some fighting game stuff, and we're going to get, like, a few other big things that are going to be, like, oh, out of nowhere type stuff. Like I can't even, like, put into perspective. Like, we would have gotten Shenmue, but that's not going to be there, so what am I... Like, it's hard to predict what they're going to do. Probably we're going to get something for Code Vein, once I think about it. Code Vein is most likely going to be talked about. Bloodborne 2, I feel, is going to be a thing that happens for sure. And if they really want to, this might have to wait until Tokyo Game Show, most likely. Which sucks, but, you know, it's fine. But if they really, really wanted to, they probably could start putting out information for the next big, like, Persona thing. Like, I wouldn't put it past them if they started doing that, like, almost immediately. because, like, that game was crazy popular. It's crazy popular. I have by myself, like, by connection, got like 4 people to buy the video game. Like, it's kind of crazy. I think that they should, like, move forward with some Persona 5 stuff. Speaking of Nintendo, just going back, we're probably gonna get some SMT stuff. Most likely, I think. I hope that we get some SMT stuff. That'd be nice. Anyways, fucking yeah. I just think that we're kind of in the kind of place where all of these companies that we don't know what they're going to do. Like, the Sony one, as always, is going to have the most surprises going on with it. I feel like Microsoft is going to be exactly what it's going to be. And that's all there really is to say about it. Microsoft is always going to be what it has always been, which is kind of predictable. And, like, that's about it, really. I don't expect a whole ton. I'm hoping that it's going to be a good time, because I'm going to be recording over it. I'm going to be seeing how that goes. I'm hoping to do a stream for it, but we'll have to see if that's a possibility. I'm going to be doing some testing of that either today or tomorrow. Today being the day that I am recording this, and tomorrow being the day that I put this out on. But we'll see. We'll see how all of that goes. But yeah, E3 is this weekend. And I'm exceedingly surprised at how little I am expecting out of it, but like how excited I am for everything. Because regardless, even if the shows are a bit lackluster this year, one way or another, I'm going to have a good time with it, because I always have a good time with E3. And I hope everybody else has a good time with E3 as well. And if don't mind that at all. If you want to and everything works out pretty fine, tune into my streams for everything. If I do end up streaming, you'll know about it if I do. Hopefully. But yeah, we're gonna be doing the whole damn thing, one way or another, when it comes to E3. I hope everybody has a great time with it, 'cause I sure as fuck will. This has been Rad. If you like this video, leave me a like, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think, and hoping, I did that bad. Are hoping for when it comes to E3 this year. Tell me your wildest dreams when it comes to it. I'm hoping that Platinum does a game for every console except for Microsoft, because they're never talking to them again. And that it's going to be like, just like fucking the craziest thing that you've ever... It's going to be like a He-Man game or something. Who knows? I'm hoping for something real good. Tell me what you are hoping for the most out of E3 this year. It'll be a good time. That'll be pretty cool. But also check out my Patreon and Coffee. That would help me out a whole lot. Anyways, I hope that you have a good day. I hope that you have a good night. I hope that you have a good whenever you're listening to or watching this. Goodbye, everybody. I love you very much. Goodbye now. Bye now, bye. Have a nice E3.